Shalom. I want to start off by giving all praises to Yahweh, Ba'Shem, Yahweh Shah, Ba'Shem, Rakah Kadash. Double honors to the apostle and elders, a great millstone who rule well, and peace and salutations to the house of David. Shalom to the elect. This is the brother Yatazakai coming back at you with another lesson through the spirit and power of Yahweh, Ba'Shem, Yahweh Shah, Ba'Shem, Rakah Kadash. All praises and honor due, And I want to entitle this lesson, lest I should be exalted, or something on those lines, the things that we go through are prepping us, for the ultimate temptation, the ultimate trial, let me see if I can find something real quick. Salakia brothers, bear with me. I'm trying to see if I can find a quick. Khan, this it right here, Salakia brothers. This Sirach chapter 34 verse 9. A man that have traveled knoweth many things, and he that have much experience will declare wisdom. So you gotta have experience to declare wisdom. Now let's go to let's get this word experience. So we get experience. It says practical contact with an observation of facts or events, encounter or undergo event or occurrence, So we encounter these different occurrences, these different events, they're encountering of different and undergoing of different events and occurrences, It says the knowledge or skill acquired by experience over a period of time, especially that gained in a particular profession by someone at work, So we're gaining knowledge and skill, through this period of time of us being into this truth, us having the knowledge of Yahweh Shem Yahushua, we're undergoing these different occurrences and events, to gain knowledge and skill within the gospel of Yahweh Shem Yahushua, within the truth, within the faith, and then ultimately what 2 Corinthians the 13th chapter goes into when it says examine yourselves whether ye be in the faith. That's how you examine yourselves through different circumstances that you're brought through. So let me jump back to that precept in Apocrypha. This Sirach chapter 34 verse 9. It says a man that have traveled know of many things, and he that have much experience will declare wisdom. Right? So, why? Because that's how we gain knowledge and skill. That's how we gain knowledge and skill within this faith. It's through our experiences. Verse 10 says, he that have no experience knoweth little, but he that traveled is full of prudence. Yeah, so if we don't go through certain things, then we're not gonna know much, man. We're not gonna know how to get through a lot of things, and that's why Yahweh Shem Yahushua allows us to go through different things, so we can know what it's like to go through things, man. And be able to handle ourselves when different situations arise. The pressure of a situation to be lightened on this, which ultimately we come into, that great time. The hour of temptation that's going to come upon every man that's upon the earth. Lord willing, we can grab that. But let me get this, because it said in verse 10, it says, he that have no experience knoweth little, but he that have traveled is full of prudence. And we're pilgrims on the earth, man. We're visitors here. We travel from another dimension, from another realm, man. We're ultimate travelers. We're ultimate travelers. We come down here to do the will of Yahweh Shem Yahushua, put forth his word and his spirit into the earth, and that's what we've been doing ever since we received this truth, you know. Lord willing, that's what you should be doing if you receive this truth, showing forth the praises of Yahweh Shemel Shai. Salak, I wanted to get this in Proverbs. This Proverbs 22 and verse 3. Proverbs 22 and 3. It says, Salak, let's grab it here. Proverbs 22. This Proverbs chapter 22 and verse 3. It says, a prudent man foreseeth the evil. So now we read in Sirach 34 and 10, he that have no experience knoweth little, but he that have traveled is full of prudence. So we've become full of prudence from our travels, from our traveling, which traveling brings forth experience, which, our travels could be included in our work in the ministry, how we travel, to go to these different camp spots, go to these different places and push forth the words of Yahweh Shemel Shai, Then also, in these video epistles, like in Psalms the 19th chapter, it says their line has went out throughout the whole earth. So ultimately our voice, which is really the voice of Yahweh Shemel Shai, Lord willing, we those men has went out all throughout the earth, It has went out all throughout the earth, ultimately, even if you're not a man of the Lord, Yahweh Shemel Shai can still use you as a voice to push forth his word, and get it out there, But ultimately, this word has traveled out throughout all four corners of the earth via the World Wide Web, via the internet, So we have done much traveling, and gained much experience, So we're prudent. So we're full of prudence, and it says, Proverbs 22 and 3, a prudent man foreseeth the evil. So we can foresee evil now, because we've become full of prudence through these different experiences and different, from these different experiences that we're faced with, we've become full of prudence, and we can foresee evil, so we can foresee that evil is coming, well, ultimately, that's how we've become able to understand that Yahweh Shemel Shai is finna ultimately bring destruction upon this place real soon. It says, a prudent man foreseeth the evil and hideth himself, but the simple pass on and are punished. Yeah, but the simple pass on and are punished. Why? Because they cannot interpret what's really finna come upon this place. What's really finna happen, man. Yahweh Shemel Shai is finna do a great work in the earth, man. He's gonna bring a lot of destruction, and a lot of people are gonna be destroyed. So a prudent, if you're not prudent, if you're simple, you're not gonna be able to understand it, and you're gonna get caught up in the destruction that Yahweh Shemel Shai is bringing, or you're not gonna be able to pull yourself, get through those things. Why? Because you don't possess the wisdom, knowledge, and skill, the prudence to be able to, get through those things, which ultimately comes through Yahweh Shemel Shai, the spirit of Yahweh Shemel Shai, of course, Let's go here. It's Isaiah. Salakia. Just Isaiah chapter 33, verse 6. This is Isaiah chapter 33 and verse 6. It says, Salakia. It says, and wisdom and knowledge shall be the stability of thy times, and strength of salvation. The fear of the Lord, Yahweh Shemel Shai, is his treasure. Yeah, it says, so wisdom and knowledge is going to be the stability of thy times. So the wisdom and knowledge that we've attained through our different experiences, our prudence, that's what's going to be able to keep us stable in the times of trouble, man, and ultimate temptation that Yahweh Shemel Shai is going to bring upon the earth. It says, and wisdom and knowledge shall be the stability of thy times, and strength of salvation. The fear of the Lord, Yahweh Shemel Shai, is his treasure. Yeah, so The fear of the Lord, Yahabashim Ashai, is his treasure. Wisdom and knowledge should be the stability of thy times and strength of salvation, man. So that's what's gonna help pull us through these different diverse temptations that we're gonna be faced with, man. Is the wisdom, knowledge, and skill that we've attained from Yahabashim Ashai, in his ministry. Let's go here. Let's go here to James. It's James 1. And we start at 2. This James chapter 1, verse 2. It says, my brethren, count it all joy when ye fall into diverse temptations. Why? Why should we count it joy when we fall into these different diverse temptations? Because Yahweh Shema Shai is building us up and giving us what it takes to be able to have the willpower, through his spirit, of course, to endure whatever temptation that we come upon. Well, let's go here. This verse 3. It says, knowing this, that the trying of your faith work with patience, right? And we need patience. We need patience. We need that suffering. We need that, we need to be able to tarry and wait. We need to know how to, endure, have patience to endure things so we could make it to the end, because there's always light at the end of that tunnel, Yahweh Shema Shai, he puts us through things and allows us to go through different things. Why? So we can be built up, so we can be built up and be strong enough to deal with the ultimate test that's gonna come. It says, but let patience have her perfect work, that ye may be perfect and entire, wanting nothing. Right. So when situations arises, we won't be, all disgruntled and not able to deal with it, not able to deal with it, because while we let patience have a perfect work, and our patience possesses our souls, so that's why we ultimately have to, endure these different diverse temptations. Why? Because it's building us up to make it through the ultimate temptation. Matter of fact, let me get this right here. This 1 Corinthians 10 and 13. It's 1 Corinthians 10 and 13. It says, there have no temptation taken you, but such as is common to man. But Yahweh Shema Shai is faithful, who will not suffer you to be tempted above that ye are able, but will with the temptation also make a way to escape, that ye may be able to bear it. So Yahweh Shema Shai ultimately has built us. He's building us up right now to be able to deal with the ultimate temptation, which is the hour of temptation. He's not gonna allow us to be tempted more than what we're able. We're able to make it through. Why? Because Yahweh Shema Shai is giving us prudence, man. He's giving us wisdom, knowledge, and skill, which is the stability of our times. So that's our way to escape, whatever temptation is brought upon us, which ultimately, we know that these different diverse temptations that we went through have built up our patience, man, which, our patience being built up is going to lead to us not wanting nothing in even the most critical times, moments of times, Let's go here to 2 Corinthians. This 2 Corinthians 11 and 23, I think it was. Salakia. 2 Corinthians 11. Let's go now. This I started 22. This 2 Corinthians 11 and verse 22. It says, are they Hebrews? So am I. Well, matter of fact, let me start up a little bit, just so we can get a little context on what's going on. This 2 Corinthians chapter 11 and verse 16. I started 16. This 2 Corinthians chapter 11 verse 16. It says, I say again, let no man think me a fool, if otherwise, yet as a fool receive me, that I may boast myself a little. It says, that which I speak it not after the Lord, but as it were foolishly, in this confidence of boasting. Seeing that many glory after the flesh, I will glory also, for ye suffer fools gladly. Seeing ye yourselves are wise, for ye suffer if a man bring you into bondage, if a man devour you, if a man take of you, if a man exalt himself, if a man smite you on the face. It says, I speak as concerning reproach, as though we had been weak. Howbeit, wherein soever any is bold, I speak foolishly. I am bold also. And that's the only reason, where the righteous are as bold as a lion, because, we're fools for Mashiach's sake. And we ultimately we face reproach. Which those reproaches that we face, and we deal with for Yahweh Shema Shah, that may seem foolish, but ultimately we doing this to build ourselves up, man. We're doing these things to build ourselves up, through the spirit and power of Yahweh Shema Shah, to be able to endure any occurrence or event that we're faced with. It says, are they Hebrews? So am I. Are they Israelites? So am I. Are they the seed of Abraham? So am I. Are they ministers of a Mashiach, the anointed? I speak as a fool. I am more in labors more abundant, in stripes above measures, in prisons more frequent, in deaths oft. Of the Jews, 5 times received I 40 stripes, save one. Woo! Thrice was I beaten with rods. Once was I stoned. Thrice I suffered shipwreck. A night and a day I have been in the deep. And journeyings often, which we went into, traveling, how traveling brings forth experience and wisdom. It says, in perils of waters, in perils of robbers, in perils of robbers, niggas taking shit from you, trying to rob you, It says, in perils by my own countrymen, by my own people. It says, in perils by the heathen, in perils in the city, in perils in the wilderness, in perils in the sea, in perils among false brethren. So that's a lot that, we have to deal with as servants of a Mashiach Yahushua, as a true servant of a Mashiach Yahushua. Scripture say, as much as he has suffered in the flesh, arm yourself likewise with the same minds. So Yahushua definitely suffered in the flesh. It says, just like Apostle Paul was speaking about, but that lets you know that Apostle Paul was a servant of a Mashiach, and a true servant of a Mashiach when you're going through these different diverse temptations. It says, and that's why James said in James the 1st chapter, count it all joy when you're faced with these diverse temptations. It says, in weariness and painfulness, and watchings often, and hunger and thirst, and fastings often, and cold and nakedness, besides those things that are without, that which cometh upon me daily, the care of all the churches. It says, who is weak and I am not weak? Who is offended and I burn not? If I must needs glory, I will glory of these things which concern mine infirmities. And that's why. Because like I was telling you in 2 Corinthians, let's go over a chapter. Let's go over 2 chapters. This is what we glory in. Why? Because we're being built up. We're being built up through the spirit and power of Yahweh Shema Shah. Here we go right here. This is 2 Corinthians 13:5. It says, examine yourselves whether ye be in the faith. Prove your own selves, know ye not your own selves, how that Yahushua Mashiach is in you, except ye be reprobates. Yeah, how do you examine yourself? Well, it's through the different trials and tribulations that you're faced with, man. you know, the different things that you go through, you know, how you react to them, how do you pull through? Did you make it through and get stronger? You know, did you increase in the spirit? Did you let it defeat you? You know, did you learn something from it to be stronger the next time you're faced with any other situation? You know, that's how you examine yourself to see whether you are in the faith. You know, let's go here to one chapter over as well. Salakia. Let's go down to 7. Well, I started 6. So, you know, we can't, if we're going to boast in anything, we got to boast about the sufferings that we facing, man. Why? Because that shows that we're true servants of Yahweh Shem Shah, Lord willing, and, you know, we got what it takes to make it through. You know, this 2 Corinthians 12 verse 6, or we're being given what it takes to make it through, you know. This 2 Corinthians chapter 12 verse 6, for though I would desire to glory, I shall not be a fool. For I will say the truth, but now I forbear, lest any man should think of me above that which he seeth me to be, or that he heareth of me, unless I should be exalted above measure through the abundance of revelations. There was given to me a thorn in the flesh. Yeah, that's what happens, man. You know, Yahweh Shem Shah trying to keep our mind right, because just because we have wisdom, knowledge, and skill, and we're gaining the things necessary to be able to receive salvation through these different temptations we're going to be faced with, you know, Yahweh Shem Shah has to keep us in order so we don't get too puffed up and then think we got what it takes to make it, you know, because it tell you make it through without even going through it yet. It tell you about, you know, because you can have in the fear of the Lord a strong confidence, of course, you know, so we can be confident in the fact that we believe that we can make it through, but ultimately, you know, we haven't been built, we haven't went against that test yet, when it faced that ultimate test yet. So, you know, we got to keep our minds level-headed to know, like, it's still more that we got to come be patient for and be strong about until we come into that perfect day, you know, that ultimate test. It says, unless I should be exalted above measure through the abundance of the revelations, which we have received. You know, we've received abundance of revelations. You know, we receive the ability to know, foresee evil. You know, we receive the ability to be able to discern between the righteous and the wicked. We receive the ability to be able to understand, you know, things are spiritual, you know, and have had that spiritual eye salve, you know. So, you know, of course, we received the abundance of revelations. You know, a lot of things have been uncovered unto us. We understand mysteries of Yahweh Shem Shah Shem Kodash, you know. It says, unless I should be exalted above measures through the abundance of the revelations, there was given to me a thorn in the flesh. You know, so Yahweh Shem Shah sets you straight real quick, you know. It says, the messenger of Satan to buffet me. Yeah, the messenger of Satan to buffet me. You know, so these spiritual demons, you know, get rain from Yahweh Shem Shah to attack us, you know, at times, man. You know, we got to keep our minds right and let us know that, you know, look, temptation is coming and you got to make it through it. You got to make it through it, man. You know, you got to eat it up, man. You got to be able to fight, you know, because temptation on the ultimate level is coming. It says, lest I should be exalted above measure. And then, you know, scripture speak about that. Matthew 23:12, you whosoever should be exalted should be abased, man. So if you get exalted to a certain point, you're going to end up being abased in the end. But if you're already abased and brought low, then you're going to be exalted in the end, you know, because if the less things you don't have, or the more things that you've been through, the more you could be accepting of the things that's going to come upon you, you know, because you're not worried about much, man, and you done been through a lot, you know. It says, for this thing I besought the Lord thrice that it might depart from me. You know, so Apostle Paul, you know, he was catching absolute hell, man. You know, Yahweh Shem Shah was bringing him through the ringer, and, you know, he was praying to Yahweh Shem Shah to ultimately, you know, deliver him from that. But what did Yahweh Shem Shah say? And he said, unto me, my grace is sufficient for thee. My grace is sufficient for thee. So my favor is sufficient for you. That's enough for you. For my strength is made perfect in weakness. And that's how our strength is made perfect. You know, the strength of salvation. You know, so we can be saved through whatever comes upon us. That's made perfect through our weaknesses that we are faced with, man, that we go through, you know. It says, most gladly, therefore, will I rather glory in my infirmities, that the power of a Mashiach may rest upon me. Right, man. You know, that's what it's all about, man. It's sustaining ourselves through these infirmities, which we finna be faced with ultimate infirmity. You know, when this devil, you know, come down with great wrath. You know, when the judgments of Yahweh Shemashah is opened up on a super mass level. You know, which ultimately, if we're those men, we're gonna have a escape route through those things. You know, but we still have to get through those things and have to, you know, be able to believe that we do have an escape route, because the, you know, scriptures speak about how the righteous gonna scarcely be saved. I'm gonna go into this word infirmities.
Strong's G 769. Asthenia.
Infirmities, want of strength of the body, feebleness of health, of sickness of the soul, want of strength and capacity requisite to understand a thing, to do things great and glorious, to restrain corrupt desires, to bear trials and troubles. So to bear trials and troubles is an infirmity. That's an infirmity. You know, when you're bearing a different trial or a trouble, that's an infirmity. But we bear these, we glory in these different trials and troubles that we have to bear. Why? That the power of a Mashiach can rest upon us, man. Like it just said in this verse, which ultimately the power of a Mashiach is the only way we're gonna overcome this hour of temptation. You know, let's read verse 10. It says, therefore I take pleasure in infirmities, in reproaches, in necessities, in persecutions, in distresses, for Mashiach's sake. For when I am weak, then I am stronger. So we're being made strong. We're being made strong through these different trials and troubles that we have to bear. You know, through of the soul, of the body, you know, of the mind. You know, matter of fact, let me get this real quick. Let's get this in Proverbs. This Proverbs 18. Let's go to Proverbs 18 and verse 14. This Proverbs chapter 18 and verse 14. It says, this Proverbs 18 and 14, the spirit of a man will sustain his infirmity, but a wounded spirit who can bear? Yes, say the spirit of a man will sustain his infirmity, man. You know, and our spirit, you know, is being filtered by the spirit of Yahweh Shemal Shai Bashim Kadash, which, you know, if you in the spirit of Yahweh Shemal Shai Bashim Kadash, you're gonna have to deal with things, man. You know, but what that spirit that's in us that helps us deal with things, you know, that's gonna help us sustain our infirmities, the troubles and the trials that we have to bear. You know, the different things that arise upon us. You know, the spirit of Yahweh Shemal Shai, you know, which the spirit of Yahweh Shemal Shai, man, and he's a man of war, so he's all about you spiritually battling, man. You know, you being adept to battle, you know, whatever you're faced with, you know. Let's go here to Sirach 2. Salat. This Sirach 2. Salakia. Sirach 2 and verse 1. It says, my son, if thou come to serve the Lord, prepare thy soul for temptation. So that's what it's all about. You know, that's the spirit of Yahweh Shemal Shai, man. You know, the spirit of Yahweh Shemal Shai is all about you enduring things, man. Going through things, man, so you could be built up, man. Let all things be done unto edification. Yahweh Shemal Shai is doing these things so you could be stronger, man. You know, to build you up, man. That's what it's all about, you know. It says the spirit of a man will sustain his infirmity. You know, so Yahweh Shemal Shai is building our spirit so we can be able to sustain our infirmity, you know, which goes into the different troubles and trials that we're going to have to go through, you know, which this is the ultimate trial right here. Let's get it. We're going to wrap it up on this right here. Because this is all what we went through, you know, these different diverse temptations in our walk and through our lives for us to prepare us for this very moment right here. for game time. This is Revelation chapter 3 and verse 10. This is Revelation chapter 3 verse 10. It says, because thou hast kept the word of my patience, has kept the word of my patience. And that's what we read in James, the first chapter, about how we're supposed to go through these different diverse temptations, so we can ultimately build our patience up to not want for nothing in the time of ultimate temptation, man. And that's keeping the word of Yahweh Shema Shai's patience, man. It says, I also will keep thee from the hour of temptation. Yes, so since we have kept the word of his patience, we've continued to live by these words, which these words, are how we get through these different infirmities, these different troubles and trials. That's why we have to have the word within us, rooted and established in the faith, So ultimately that's what's gonna keep us strong in this ultimate time of temptation. It says, I also will keep thee from the hour of temptation which shall come upon all the world to try them that dwell upon the earth. Yeah, so it's gonna come upon the whole world to try everybody, man. Everyone that dwells upon the earth. But guess who's the only ones who are gonna be able to have what it takes to get through this hour of temptation? Those who have the wisdom, knowledge, understanding, experience, faith, patience, hope, and strength of Yahweh Shema Shai. Ultimately, the spirit of Yahweh Shema Shai by Shem Kakadash resting upon them. The power of a Mashiach, resting upon them. They're the only ones who are going to be able to escape their ultimate infirmity, which is the hour of temptation, which is going to consume those who are not engulfed in the spirit of Yahweh Shema Shai, and those who have the spirit of Yahweh Shema Shai resting upon them. They're going to be able to escape this, ultimately. They're not going to be defeated by this, So, Lord willing, that's why Yahweh Shema Shai allows us to go through these different things. Why? So we could, so we don't be exalted above measure, and we don't be abased in that day, but we could be already caught, abased and, basically, be exalted by Yahweh Shema Shai, But Lord willing, this was edifying. I want to give our praises to Yahweh by Shem, Yahweh Shai by Shem, Rakakadash, double honors to the apostle and elders of Great Millstone, rule well, and peace and salutations to the house of David. Shalom to the elect.